Thank you very much. Let me express my appreciation at being invited to participate and say that this is a very important issue, particularly for the African Union. The views that have been expressed from the high table on the other side by the experts are certainly food for thought. The issues that confront us today are definitely linked directly to the manner in which our partnership between Africa and the EU in the area of peace and security will turn out in order to determine the success of our interventions through this partnership. Now, much of what I had planned to say has already been said. So I am going to digress from my prepared speaking points and just raise a few issues that might perhaps be seen to be slightly controversial, slightly provocative, but nevertheless issues that we would need to address in terms of how our regional mechanisms, as well as civil society, can play a constructive role in addressing peace and security issues. Now, thus far, we have not heard any linkage between peace and security and issues of governance on the African continent. And I think this is quite important for us to bear in mind, that there is a link, and in most instances, the instability or insecurity in many African countries is linked to issues of governance. Now, in Africa, we've also got the African governance architecture, which is one of the structures and the institutions which we are busy trying to set up. We have recently had the Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance enter into force through the acquisition of the necessary number of ratifications. But we also have a homegrown institution or process which is on a voluntary basis, which everyone here is aware of, the African Peer Review Mechanism, which seeks to set the benchmark for how African countries ought to govern themselves in the political, economic, financial, and social spheres. And what we need to do is use these already existing structures, experiences, and link them to our efforts at securing peace on the continent. So if we are able to synergize the institutional structures that we have, then we are able to look at the nature of the interaction that would need to take place between these various institutions. Of course, we speak of civil society complementing, assisting in the achievement of peace and its maintenance on the continent. However, we also need to take cognizance of the fact that we need to agree on the mandate and the parameters within which state institutions, continental institutions, regional structures, and civil society organizations will work. And I don't think right now that we have much work that has been done in this area. Mention has been made of capacity building. This is very important. Within the CSOs, within the regional economic communities and the peace and security structures that are there, we need to look at early warning systems being set up at the regional level. And early warning ought to result in early intervention. And this we are not seeing, partly because of the regional, continental, and global bureaucracy that we have to go through as a means of achieving what can be seen as legitimate interventions. So we need to address even the issue of early warning, which would result in early intervention. Mention has been made of emphasis being placed on preventative and mediation efforts, and this we agree with. If we have the early warning, if the signals are there, why are we not able to then address the situation before it breaks out into an open conflict? Resources, equipment, and expertise are extremely important if we are to meet our mandate in bringing about peace and security. And unfortunately, the reality on the African continent is that we are cash-strapped. We do not have the necessary technology, the equipment, the expertise, the skills. And these are the issues that we would require as tools which would enable us to promote peace and security. Of course, preemptive interventions come with their own challenges, because the intervention may not have the necessary support, broad support. It may not be within the international framework that is acceptable, and so it can be undermined. We therefore have to tread very carefully at times with the CSOs in these areas. Currently, one of the challenges we have at the African Union is the Peace and Security Council, which is fully operational. But the manner in which the Constitutive Act and the rules and procedures prescribe that the members of the Peace and Security Council should be appointed is different from what is done in practice. And so there is already a blurring of the lines. Now, if you have members who are serving on the Peace and Security Council who themselves are involved in conflicts, if they themselves are coming up for discussion, then the nature of the debate at Peace and Security Council level is immediately compromised. So either we are going to stick to what the intent was when the African Union was established, or we are going to start shifting the goalposts in the manner in which we appoint members of the Peace and Security Council, in the manner in which we go to defend national interest rather than peace and security. So there are certain harsh issues which we believe will have to be addressed as institutional weaknesses and shortcomings if we are to, as the African Union, be able to move forward. The multi-track approach is always most beneficial because there is no single institution or structure which can single-handedly claim to have all the necessary tools and expertise to achieve peace. We therefore need to have complementary efforts by all stakeholders who are with the necessary expertise. And I think the key is for us to work towards the long-term sustainable interventions with peace as the main objective, not any other second or third agenda that is on a list. It is peace first. And then we also need to bear in mind that we've had a fair amount of discussion around the controversial issues of which should come first, peace or justice. The debate goes on. But if we do not achieve peace, how do you pursue justice? And if you have justice first, then what is its impact on peace? So with these few thoughts, I shall end my address now. Thank you.